Jim. His name is also James Poole, so he just made things very confusing. I have to tell you, I visited China. We were in this big, huge convention. It was not really organized. Nobody know where we're going. And, you know, a lot of physicians are from the United States were presenting about neurotoxicity, ADD, depression, autism, all the stressful events. And what I noticed is there's a group of people, is James and David and Dr. Sunder from a psychiatrist, and they seem to be just like really mellow. And they go with the flow, they get things done, they're laughing all the time, and they're just easy going. Even though all the chaotic things are happening in that meeting, weird personalities and all that good stuff. So I was very intrigued. Also, he has great glowing color. Everybody had jet lag, and they said they just got there too. They don't look like they have any jet lag. And of course, I'm the happy person too. So I was very, very attracted to this group. So after that, I listened to the talk by Jim and about the brain waves, which we all love, and how do we get people to relax, right? And of course, for many years, I was told meditation will be great. Dr. Lu, just start with 10 minutes, watch yourself sitting there. You know, every time I tried to do it, I was all over the place or fall asleep. So I was very intrigued. And that hotel we stayed also had mold. Everybody can smell it. So of course, at the first time I had an issue sleeping, and I was about to present. And so they just gave everybody the NuCalm. Some people had the out-of-body experience. Some people were like pretty amazed. So we thought it was just music, right? So I really want to today really invite Jim to just share with us how long this company has been around. How did you come into contact with this technology? What you have done in terms of research, and explain a little bit about the whole vision that you want everyone to be healthy and happier, less stressed out. So let's talk about that. Is that a vision or just a dream? I mean, everybody wants that. Like Dalai Lama want everybody to, you know, to meditate, and Joe Dispenza too. So tell us about your experience and your founding of this company.
So I came to be a part of this enterprise and basically the conductor of the enterprise 11 and a half years ago. My background was I was in psychotherapy. I was raised by two psychotherapists, so I had a natural inclination for helping people and a pretty strong disposition to psychology, applied neuropsychobiology, neurophysiology. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to change the world because the world is quickly humbling me and I'm realizing I can't change anybody. So instead of helping people with dual diagnosis, schizoaffective, borderline, paranoid schizophrenia out of the State Mental Health Institutions of Massachusetts, I said, I need to cut bait and run. And I went to business school. So years go by. I would do a lot of work with Wall Street banks. I do a lot of mergers and acquisitions. I take over companies in medical device, pharmaceutical, biotech, a lot of companies, big portfolio of about 49 companies. A lot of work, a lot of cool stuff. In 2008, I was the conductor for the largest acquisition in the history of the dental industry, which was a multi-$100 million acquisition of a company in California. Dentistry is a small industry. And word got around that there was a consulting firm that made a dentist a couple $100 million. That's good. That's good to go around, right? Well, coincidentally, and probably by design by the universe and not by intention, Dr. Holloway, who had invented NuCalm and was working with PTSD comorbid with addiction, that was his clinical work. He said, you know, let me try to see this in a different environment. And you have state anxiety and you have trait anxiety. Okay. Well, state anxiety is clearly elicited when you step into a dental chair, you lie down, open your mouth, and have a stranger put instruments in your mouth. Your central nervous system says, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. It activates the amygdala, the HPA axis, and all this stuff happens, called the fight or flight response. So he was working in dentistry, working with high fear patients, And Dr. Staffel, this gentleman who's a key opinion leader and a lecturer in dentistry, said, hey, Dr. Holloway, if you want to bring this company to market, you should call this firm. They made this dentist a lot of money. So it's amazing how it happened. I was very busy at the time, and I wasn't really into suffering fools and wasting time. Dr. Holloway disarmed me. He disarmed me with his Southern charm and drawl. He disarmed me with his intellect. Clearly, within a few minutes, I was like, okay, this gentleman is uniquely intelligent. And what I liked about him most was his humility and compassion. He had no intention on commercializing anything for his own self value, right? Hey, let me go make money in this. All he cared about was working with the most difficult profile on the anxiety spectrum. There's 7 diagnosable anxiety disorders. PTSD, comorbid addiction, is the toughest profile to live with. And most people don't. They end up taking their own life. So he's like, you know, Jim, it took me 20 plus years to invent NuCalm. Nothing's easy. And I just wasn't satisfied with conventional narcotic-based pharmaceutical therapy and pseudo-cognitive behavioral therapy on a brain that's physiologically interrupted. Blood flow to the prefrontal, frontal cortex, hippocampus is compromised. They're living in this state of psychic pain. They're dreaming and nightmares, and they're in a constant state of cortisol overload. I need to do something. That was the genesis of the NuCalm invention. It took, clearly to me, one of the brightest human beings to walk this planet, 20 plus years to figure it out. And here's why. His intention is to manage your brain. That's a big ask. Brain's pretty complicated. We don't know a lot about the brain. So how are we going to create something that predictably, safely manages your brain every time? That's the cool piece. The more I learned about NuCalm, the more we brought in people and some of the best scientists, academicians, and doctors in the world to either try to reverse engineer it, try to say, hey, it works, it doesn't work. I mean, we're talking about mathematicians from NASA, the world's leading statistical biophysicists. I mean, very intelligent human beings. The more that we learned about the design, the more it was clearly to me the intentional, meticulous method to put together this system to simply balance your autonomic nervous system. It's a big ask. The technology is amazing in that right, but the world is so out of balance. Humans are so amazing. We're so complex. We're so gifted and intelligent. Yet at the same time, we're blind. We're blind to the fact that stress over the course of our life will have a cumulative negative detriment to our health and be a catalyst to any and all diseases. And sometimes we'll have numerous diseases. Think just for example, and you know this, think about the immunosuppressive diseases in the gut. Do you really think 50 years ago there was a proliferation of ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease? No. When cortisol is in your gut all the time, compromising your microbiome, and you have this, metabolic acidosis, guess what? Things aren't good. Why is it? Well, don't just give me an antacid. Help me get to the root cause of this. Why are we in such a race? What is so important on our to-do list that makes us just push, 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 drive, drive, drive? That, I think, is the great equalizer in the last year. COVID is a reset button to humanity and the planet. And I really hope in all people's discern and confusion and uncertainty that they've taken time to evaluate their life, introspective, reflective, and try to gain an understanding of what truly is a priority in their life. Because racing to the next to-do list is not any race, but to an early death and a life of misery in the twilight of your life. So it all fundamentally, to me, comes back to stress. Comes back to being able to balance the autonomic nervous system in a manner for like NuCalm that's an easy to use technology that is always predictable, safe, and does what it's intended to do. Because much like you, your energy is incredible. It's infectious. It's amazing. I love it. I know you can't meditate. You close your eyes and try to meditate, it's like ADHD on steroids. It's just not going to happen. I can't meditate. I studied martial arts for years. I had to meditate just to be a part of the opposite of the adrenaline rush. I couldn't do it. I was a failure. And it's interesting because you fail at something that's really difficult. It's intangible and hard to describe. yet you're filled with shame and self-doubt, and you're like, what's the matter with me? Why can't I do it? Well, very few humans on the planet can do it. We're not alone. So that's how I got to this place. And I can tell you this with just great delight. It's been 11 and a half years of the most determined sacrifice, compassion, focus, intellectual curiosity, drive, and it's been an absolute treat. When you find your purpose and you find your intention, you're liberated. I don't have any consternation. I have no obstacles. I have no resistance. I have no negative consequences to the choices I make every day. I just get up. I love what we do. It's really difficult. The science is so complex. I know we'll get into some of it. The science, we could talk for 10 hours and people still wouldn't understand it. It's absolutely amazing. And why does it have to be that way? Well, we're managing your brain. So to do something that complex takes a complex solution. But it's been a wonderment. It's been a journey of reward, of personal reward. I came to this enterprise as a very hard driven type A Wall Street banker running companies for a living, having to control everything, having to make, really intense business decisions with limited information, being very impatient, working really hard, drinking alcohol. I wouldn't drink every day, but when I would drink, boy, that beer would go down like water and I could take 10 down, right? Because I was stressed. Then I get involved in this enterprise and I start, being introduced to the NuCalm concept. And even then, it took me 5 to 6 months to habitualize this. And the only reason I did it is I came to realization that if I gave myself 30 minutes of NuCalm, it repaid me with 10 hours of the most clear-headed, focused, energized, efficient output. I use it as a tool to help me work harder and more efficient. And in that journey, it's changed who I am.
That's fantastic. So now we want to go into the three components, right? The earpiece, the music, and then the disc, the development of the reset disc, and then the different program. Because a lot of people say, well, is that just music? I don't have time for 20 minutes of music. What you have done instead of did you do any scientific brain wave? Tell us about the brain wave measurement you guys have done so far.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, so I assume a lot of this audience is going to be medical practitioners who have chosen for their profession a profession of nobility, sacrifice, determination, fatigue, restless nights, worry. It's incredible. And at what expense? The expense of your own health, the expense of your own psychological, mental, and physical well-being. I will not be able to ever implore people enough that taking time to reset and restore and balance your autonomic nervous system is probably one of the most important elements of your life to have balance, period. It's not magic. It's really quite simple to understand. The sympathetic nervous system, if it's on the accelerator all the time and you have no balance in your life, you will break down. And it's simply put, when your foot is on the accelerator all the time and you're filled with catecholamines and cortisol and adrenaline, you're never getting rest. And you're not sleeping well. So we live in this state of high stress, poor sleep, high stress, poor sleep. And when we're young, we have resilience because it's youth. It's amazing what we can do. And what's interesting about being a human is we don't understand what we can't see, touch, and feel. We have to rectify this. We have to understand the negative consequence of not managing stress because we see it manifest in disease. We see when we turn 40, things start happening. We start being inflamed in certain areas that were injuries from the past. Things start to happen in the wrong direction. Why does that happen? How does stress be the catalyst to create 95% of all diseases? This isn't magic. This is time and a long, prolonged consequence of not taking care of yourself. Where does it all reside? It resides in the second stage of the sleep architecture when your brainwave function is in theta brainwave function. when your brainwave function is oscillating between 4 and 7 hertz in theta, kind of like the twilight zone, body feels heavy, mind is wandering. It's just above deep sleep. Deep sleep is a dreamless state where your body is just in a comatose state. Theta brainwave function is the only time in the natural 24-hour biorhythm that your cells do their cellular maintenance, clean their toxins, and your mitochondria and ATP is restored. That's the energy source so that your cells know their function and do their job. If we go through life thinking that we can supersede the need to be a human and have this pattern of poor sleep and high stress, we will die of a miserable disease. And many of us, due to our epigenetics and all these other variables, will have more than one disease. We'll have an immunosuppressive disease in the gut, and we'll have cancer. I mean, it's amazing. Everybody who listens to this is smart. Everybody who listens to this is aware of these things. At some point, you have to stop, look in the mirror and say, what do I want out of this life? Do I want to play superhero at my own detriment and live a miserable life in the twilight of my life when I'm dealing with the consequence of not taking care of myself? Or do I want to stop now and do something? So how does NuCalm work? NuCalm is exceptionally easy to use. The science is beyond complex. The brain and the body communicate two ways and only two ways. This isn't up for debate. You have chemical messaging and you have electrical messaging. That's the communication of cell biology. Okay, NuCalm uses both channels. There is no single modality on Earth that can effectively manage brainwave function. And if there's any company that tells you they can, they are ignorant and they are full of baloney. The brain is so complex. Your brain and your body is a closed loop ecosystem of compensatory nature. You do something here, it compensates here. It compensates there, it compensates there, it compensates there. When you are designing a technology to impose your will on the brainwave function, you have to look through all of these areas. And you have to ensure that if there's an escape route or a compensatory mechanism that will disallow the person to feel that experience, then we have to solve that. The disc. The disc is the biochemical messaging of the NuCalm system. It is designed to activate the GABAergic system in the brain, inhibit the secretion of adrenaline, and simply begin the relaxation response. The GABA A receptor site is responsible for anything anxiolytic in the brain. So anything that creates a relaxation response binds to the GABA A receptor site. Anytime you had a tough day, really tough. Mentally, you're fatigued, you get home, you feel like a carpet stain, and you're just beat. You have no energy, you don't want to be around anybody, and you have one sip of wine. And all of a sudden, the weight of the world rolled right off your shoulders. Hey, life isn't so bad. That alcohol sip bound to the GABA A receptor site. That's all it did. Benzodiazepines, opiates, barbiturates bind to the GABA A receptor site. GABA A is the body's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter related to anything that creates relaxation or anxiolysis. It's really important. Without GABA, we're dead. I would say that's pretty important. So what are we doing on the disc? We're activating the brain's GABAergic system using a very complex method of quantum physics. Historically, we had to use rudimentary supplementation catalyzed by a stimulation device, okay? The goal was to create GABA A and GABA B and a few other inhibitory neurotransmitters, mostly L-theanine, casein tryptic hydrolysate, and L-tyrosine, to take the brain and just take the edge off. And to do it, we used to have a chewable tablet, and then we had a transdermal cream. Both of them were minimally effective until Dr. Holloway moved to Russia before perestroika, when it probably wasn't safe to live there, and studied cranial electrotherapy stimulation in St. Petersburg, Russia. And what he learned there was that if he could create a low-level microcurrent and electrophorate the cell wall membrane, he would open up the receptor site so that the GABA was absorbed. So historically, NuCalm used to be a $4,695 FDA Class 3 regulated medical device. It had 4 components. The medical device aspect of NuCalm was the stimulation device. 5.5 years ago, Dr. Holloway says, you know what? I have an expertise in bioresonance, harmonic oscillations, and frequency medicine. There's got to be a way around this. He spent several years working with German physicists and Chinese medicine experts to determine the exact specific frequency of GABA A, GABA B, L-tyrosine, casein tryptic hydrolysate, and L-theanine. Those were the molecular elements that were in the cream. He located the frequencies He studied them. He built a recipe. That recipe turned into a software. That software is then imprinted on a 6-layer multi-wave oscillator invented by the Russian scientist George Lukovsky over 100 years ago. These concentric circles are holding a biostatic charge. It looks like a sticker out of a comic book. It is so far not. It is so advanced in the quantum physics realm of bioresonance. So this is holding a biostatic charge. It's imprinted inside a Tesla coil. What it does is the disc, taken out of the Faraday bag, where it's protected and inert, is placed on the pericardium 6 acupressure point. That acupressure point innervates the pericardial sac to the brain, signals the brain, let's activate the GABAergic system. The body and the brain and the universe is vibration, frequency, and energy. That's life. Everything about this is vibration, frequency, and energy. Life is like this. So what we're doing is we're presenting like a harmonic oscillation, the vibration of the GABAergic system. When the cells feel that vibration, they resonate at that frequency. That's bioresonant harmonic oscillation medicine. This is electromedicine. This was discovered by George Lukovsky and Nikola Tesla in the 1900s. Hello, why are we just making this now? Why have we had to choose supplements and use stimulation devices? This is an incredible, incredible invention, 5.5 years in the making. This allowed us to be liberated from the complexity of a Class C medical device, allowed us to make a more portable, more affordable version of NuCalm using the platform Neuroscience designed to balance your autonomic nervous system. This disc was the great equalizer for us and allows us to be here today. If we weren't here with a more affordable, more portable version, you and I aren't doing this webinar because we're not going to spread the word and tell people to buy a $5,000 Class C medical device. Okay? So the disc, the biochemical messaging of NuCalm, designed as a catalyst to activate the GABAergic system, inhibit the HPA axis, slow down the adrenals, and allow the body the opportunity to relax without resistance. When you use the disc in NuCalm, you create a predictable, rapid onset of relaxation, a deep relaxation experience, and more importantly, the longevity of feeling good afterwards. Okay? Disc. Second component, simple, eye mask. The cerebral cortex is what, 50% visual cortex? Okay, there's a lot going on there. The eyes take in so much information, your brain has to process all of it. You cannot meditate, you cannot relax, you cannot be kind of calm, still present in the moment with your eyes open. It doesn't work that way. And if you just close your eyes, light will still permeate your eyelids. So we have an eye mask, simple. Complex evolution of the brain, but simple in its application. Great. There's your two components. Now comes the fun stuff. Boom. You guys ready? Okay, let's do this. There's over $5 million of patented physics, mathematics, and algorithms designed in a software with the expressed intent of presenting your brain with a pattern that paces your brain and slows your brainwave function into alpha and theta. Conceptually, it's easy to understand. Application is beyond complex. The best way to share with you the complexity of what we're doing is a typical song, because you listen to music in NuCalm. A typical song that you download from Apple might be 5 megabytes, 10 megabytes. The NuCalm 70 track, which happens to be my favorite, Rescue 70, is over 1.5 gigabytes. Okay. That should really help you understand the complexity of what's in that track. So what's in there? We have binaural signal processing. So a physics method for tricking the brain and presenting it with a beat that's inaudible to the ear. This was discovered by a German scientist in 1839, which is really fascinating to me how this was discovered, right? But essentially, early on, I said the ecosystem of a human is compensatory. Well, none more than this aspect, because it's mind-boggling. For simplicity's sake, let's say we want to present your brain with a pattern of alpha, which is 12 hertz. You can't hear alpha, so we can't just play you 12 hertz. We will present in the right ear 512 hertz. We will present in the left ear 500 hertz. The caudate nucleus of the midbrain receives a signal, and that dissonance is not acceptable. The brain subtracts the difference, and you're left with 12 hertz. That's the concept of binaural signal processing. It's incredible. So you're tricking the brain by knowing what the brain's going to do to compensate for a stimulation. That's what we did. That is a carrier signal for the signal. There's also in there a pitch and mathematical matrix. But here's the key. NuCalm was awarded the only patent in the world for balancing and maintaining the health of the human autonomic nervous system. I'm going to repeat that because the profundity cannot be overstated. Systems and methods for balancing and maintaining the health of the human autonomic nervous system is our patent. The autonomic nervous system governs human fear, stress, anxiety, depression, and worry, and activates the fight or flight system. We have the only patent in the world for balancing the autonomic nervous system. You don't get that without irrefutable quantified evidence from the best scientists in the world showing exactly what we're doing. But to do this, we had to create all these complexities. The method used to develop the software is also patented. And here's the key. The reticular activating system of the brain is the filtration system of the brain. It's the most sophisticated filter in the world. It's taking all information in from all your senses and your intuition, your visual, your auditory, your olfactory, your tactile, your gut. And it has to figure out what's important and what's not. If we didn't have the reticular activating system, we'd go mad within a day because you'd be like, I can't take all this information. And it's interesting because we're pretty lucid and we're pretty aware and we're pretty astute and we think we're in control. Well, I guarantee you there's houses on your street you've never seen before. And I don't care how long you live there because your brain says, we don't need that information. Not necessary. Allow us to use those calories to work on something that's necessary. That is the art and the science and the responsibility of the reticular activating system of the brain. So this filtration system is the best pattern recognition machine ever created in the planet. It's also the best shortcut. So we are programmed for pattern recognition, understanding the pattern, and then finding shortcuts. That's why there's no such thing as a second impression. Your first impression, your brain's taking it all in, everything. So let's think about this. You and your husband go out to dinner. You go down to Portland and you're like, wow, this restaurant's incredible. You feel really good. Endorphins are flying. The food tastes incredible. It's literally connecting to your taste buds. It is a dream. So one of the best dinners you've ever had. The next day, you're like, that was an amazing dinner. The next week, that was an amazing dinner. Then your husband surprises you and says, hey, guess what we're doing next weekend? We're going back. Great. Will it ever measure up to the first time? No, it won't. Why? Because the reticular activating system has already processed all the nuances of that stimulation. So when people say, hey, you're a creature of habit, yes, I am. It's called being a human. Because if you're not, you'd go mad. So this reticular activating system is exceptionally complex and really important to our ability to manage our way in life. So knowing this, Dr. Holloway had to create a method to trick the reticular activating system so that you would never build resistance to the NuCalm neuroacoustic software. So that every time you listen to the NuCalm neuroacoustic software, your brain falls for the beat and is paced into alpha and theta. And to do this, he built a nonlinear oscillating algorithm in a dynamic flow that never is static. This is an incredible aspect of the invention. And here's why. I don't know if it was intention. I don't know if it was divine intervention. But one of the coolest aspects of having created this, where the brain is constantly fully consumed trying to figure out the pattern, is exactly that. You're commandeering all of your brain's reticular activating resources as it's trying to fulfill its obligation to your brain, and that is figure out the pattern. So the grip that the vibration and the science and the algorithms, the math and the physics take you, and you are in the game and you're in the cycle of alpha and theta, not to get out until your body has restored. It is incredible. So we have in this neuroacoustic software a nonlinear oscillating dynamic algorithm to maintain constant trickery of the reticular activating system. As we use binaural signal processing and a pitch and frequency mathematical matrix, all wrapped in music specifically designed with the math to create a pattern in your brain that it falls for, and we pace you like a NASCAR pace car into alpha and theta. That's what NuCalm is doing.
Wow. You answered all my questions, because I have a question like, well, if I do it every day, will my brain just get used to it, start wandering around other places? So that's amazing about the constantly, changing the pattern without the brain actually become adapted to it, basically.
What
So,
you've noticed when you NuCalm, and this is a manifestation of the physics, your mind wanders the whole time that you're lucid. Because your mind is following a reticular system. So people are like, hey, I tried to count to 20, or I tried to meditate. I said, don't bother. It's a non-linear path. NuCalm is amazing. NuCalm does exactly what it's intended to do. It puts the brakes on the sympathetic nervous system, it raises the parasympathetic nervous system, and it puts you into theta brainwave function, where your body can restore, heal, build your resiliency, your immune strength, and your longevity. It's amazing, but it's not a miracle. What we'd like to do is just clear your brain out, right? And be like, hey, no thoughts for an hour. It doesn't work that way. So the NuCalm experience is unique because you can't articulate what it means to be oscillating in the second stage of sleep. There are no words in the human language to share with you the experience you're going to have on NuCalm. We can just share with you some ideas. Number one, you're going to put the disc on the eye mask, you're going to choose a track on the app, and you're going to lie down. The first few minutes, your body's rigid and your mind is wandering. Nothing is happening. Why do you think that is? Nothing's happening because the central nervous system is protecting us all the time, and there's no way the central nervous system would allow us to take you from beta alert brainwave function into theta. It doesn't work that way. You would have what's called a relaxation-induced anxiety attack. So in the first few minutes of NuCalm, we are putting you in what's called the departure lounge. We are preparing your central nervous system to relinquish control and allow it to relax during the day when it doesn't want to relax. So what we do is we say, hey, we're going to start you at 13 hertz. Then we're going to take you down to 9. Then we're going to take you up to 12. Then we're going to take you to 8. Then we'll take you to 13. Then we'll take you to 9. Then we'll take you to 12. Then we'll take you to 7. And after 16 minutes, we say, okay, your brain is groomed and you're ready for the journey. Your mind is still wandering, but then you feel a separation and you feel your body start to get really heavy. It's the first time that you're lucid and aware of the force of gravity. That's 9.2 meters per second squared, imposing its will on your body because we've relinquished you of adrenaline. It's really a fascinating experience. And then from there, in theta, you're in the twilight zone. You're in and out of lucid dreaming, your subconscious stuff happening, you're in and out of sleep. NuCalm is not designed as a sleep aid, and NuCalm is not designed for you to sleep in NuCalm. But here's what we've learned over the last 11 years and several million people that have used it. Everybody is sleep deprived. Not a single human being on this earth has this stress and sleep licked. Not one, not a single person, not even monks we work with. Well, if monks don't have it licked, good luck for the rest of us, okay? So what happens is when you're levitating the brainwave just above deep sleep, your brain and body are far more, bright than we are. We think we control stuff. We control nothing. Okay, so your body's like, wow, this feels really good. I'm going to dip down there into sleep because I'm sleep deprived. So what we notice when we're doing all these measures, whether it's QEEG, EEG, HRV, whatever, we see that people in NuCalm often dip in and out of sleep. When they come out of the sleep pattern, they pick up the neuroacoustic software and they're back in theta. So that's a NuCalm experience. And what are we doing? Why is this important? Why do you care to share this story with the world? Here's why it's important. Human beings are amazingly gifted, complex, amazing sources of light, enlightenment, compassion, intellect, curiosity. It's just an amazing journey to be a human. Okay, but we also have a lot of blind spots. We have a very, very poor ability to understand time horizon. There'd be no reason, if you understood the consequence of smoking a cigarette and dying at 42 years old from lung cancer, that you would ever smoke at 18 years old. There'd be no reason that you'd go ritualistically sunbathe knowing that melanoma is going to take your life 32 years later, okay? There should also be no reason that if you don't manage stress and sleep and get out of this cycle of high stress, poor sleep, that you're going to die of an immunosuppressive disease, okay? But we can't think like that. And we also can't figure out what we can't see, smell, and touch and feel. We can hear things like, wow, stress creates 98% of all disease. Well, it's not going to say on my death certificate, Mr. Poole died of stress. It's going to say that I died of cardiovascular disease caused by stress, cancer caused by stress, immunosuppressive disease of my gut caused by stress. So let's get to the core. Let's understand what's the cause. Don't show me the manifestation. Show me the cause. NuCalm is the only technology in the world clinically proven and patented to lower your stress and improve your sleep quality without drugs. You don't get that patent. You don't get all of this work without showing irrefutable, quantified evidence to the massive extreme that we did. This is an incredible technology that's designed for the human race to liberate you from the stress response of the autonomic nervous system and to level the playing field for you evolutionary psychologists. The primordial reptilian part of our brain is 40 million years evolved. Yet the frontal and prefrontal cortex of our brain, our executive functioning, our personality, our character, our logic, is 4 million years evolved. We are battling every day a 36 million year head start of all this neuronal circuitry of the primordial survival mechanism, and we are often sabotaged by it. The whole mood disorder spectrum is catalyzed by the sabotage of the autonomic nervous system. There's only one technology in the world patented and clinically proven to manage this. That's NuCalm. I'd say that's important. Here's what I like about it. It's easy, predictable, safe, okay? And I am never going to take the time to learn to meditate effectively. I'm 6 feet, 225 pounds. I have a big upper body and chicken legs. You're not going to see me in a yoga outfit, okay? It's not going to happen, okay? Deep breathing. I love the Wim Hof deep breathing and all that stuff, but I don't do it. What I do is in the afternoon, when I hit that cognitive dip around 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I really can't even spell my name anymore, instead of going for an espresso, I go lie on my bed and I NuCalm for 30 minutes. For every 20 minutes of NuCalm is equivalent to 2 hours of restorative sleep, simply because we are suspending your brainwave function in the theta brainwave function responsible for cellular restoration, recovery, regeneration. This is the sweet spot for longevity. That's what I do. That's the beauty of NuCalm. When we first started working with monks, 2015, I had no idea, and I certainly was skeptical that they would even entertain the idea. So I went out to LA, educated them on it, left them with systems, came back 2 weeks later, and I was really kind of excited and also a little bit skeptical. The first thing they said to me was, "We love NuCalm." I was like, "What? You're monks?" And they said, "Yeah, we are. And we've devoted our life to service, and we've meditated for 100,000 hours in our life. But Jim, we are also human. We have to go through the boredom and the checklists and the processes of meditation. What we like about NuCalm is it accelerates that whole pathway and gets us into this spot that we're familiar with, though we can't do it with ease. And it allows us to be our most creative, conscious self. That's pretty incredible. So what is the value of NuCalm? Why would this be important to you as a medical practitioner living your life, saving the world, and helping people? Why would this be important to you, and how would you use it? The important element is not that NuCalm is a savior. NuCalm is not saving anything. NuCalm is not the elixir to take care of life's ill wills. NuCalm balances your autonomic nervous system. NuCalm allows you to manage stress, and NuCalm allows you to sleep better. These are the keys for your body to get into balance. Physiologically, mindfulness has one positive outcome that you're trying to achieve, but no one understands this. The achievement of mindfulness is predicated on the body's ability to supersaturate oxygen-rich red blood cells. Oxygen is the healing property of the body and the mind. When you do meditation, you're trying to slow down your respiratory sinus arrhythmia to 1 breath every 10 seconds, 6 breaths a minute. That's the diaphragmatic ultimate volumetric breathing of a human being. If you want to be healthy, breathe at 1 breath every 10 seconds. If you do deep breathing, what are you trying to do? Oxygenate the enterprise. What are you doing in yoga? removing lactic acid, creating oxygenation. That is the path of the physiological benefit of mindfulness. The ancillary benefit to me is higher consciousness and more access to the prefrontal and frontal cortex and ability to perceive things differently. That's that manifestation. But the key to health is to take control of the autonomic nervous system that has a 40 million year head start and ensure that when we feel anticipatory anxiety or stress, that we're not sabotaged there. Because how the brain works, the battle that we fight every day is a battle for resources in the form of oxygen-rich red blood cells. You have the central nervous system with its primary function of keeping us alive and self-preservation, and we'll call the central nervous system Batman. Let's call the autonomic nervous system Robin, because the autonomic nervous system is what the central nervous system pings to protect itself when it perceives a threat. The fight or flight mechanism is designed for self-preservation and mobilization to protect us. Yet it has not evolved to our present state of life. And it is the catalyst to the entire mood disorder spectrum. So when we feel stressed out, the gates of blood flow access to the prefrontal and frontal cortex are limited, limiting our cognition and ability to think our way out of stress, and everything gets consumed by the reptilian brain. So it is a game of resource allocation and an existential challenge to manage blood flow to the key areas of the brain. So when you engage in mindfulness over the course of your life, or when you engage in NuCalm for just 30 minutes, what you're doing is oxygenating key areas of the hippocampus, frontal cortex, and prefrontal cortex so that you can take charge and lessen the sabotage by the reptilian brain. This is really, really important for clarity, for being patient, for being present, for being alive, for not being sabotaged, for not having behavioral modification and things that you do that you're ashamed of later on. All that stuff is simply a manifestation of this primordial midbrain that doesn't want to be humiliated, doesn't like shame, doesn't want to fail. That's the game of being human. This technology is the equalizer to take that 36 million year head start of the primordial midbrain and say, let's call this an even playing field and let's start from scratch.
I love that. So that is reset the outdated brain from the, fight and flight. Yep. I love that. So one of the testimonial we had is actually my mother. My mother is a dragon. And when I gave her the NuCalm, she's like, what is this? And so I gave it to her. Within 10 minutes, she said she need to go to the bathroom. So I think one of the thing is that's really a parasympathetic phenomenon. People didn't know that. People said, how many people go to a music hall within 10 minutes you need to go poop, right?
Yes.
So that is like the fundamental of digestive system. So many people take probiotic, fiber, everything, but if their life is really stressed out, they're not pooping because their sympathetic is dominant. So that was one funny thing, and that happened to many older people when they're so wind up as older people. They're so anxious, they couldn't really release very well. So the other one is actually a woman. She was so stressed out. She actually ordered the NuCalm as soon as the app is available. We're going to talk about that. It's very affordable for everybody. So she was having severe relationship issue. And when I came to see her to scan her toxins, she could not even, she just so stressed, she's shaking. So I put her to bed. I gave her the things. I said, just do it. And I left. I said, when you're done, you get up and you just call me. And she was like, I want this. So she's now becoming a productive, having more comfort time, comforting, relaxing time with her pretty, I would say, difficult, situation. We all do, with our spouse. Sometimes we are wishing they're just on NuCalm twice a day with you. That would be really, really cool.
How about just NuCalm for 12 hours straight?
And then I'm hosting a beautiful young lady. She's going through difficult marriage issues, and she uses it every morning. And I see her more and more relaxed and sleeping better. and especially young mother these days, they have to work, have a children, have kids.
Yes.
They really can use 20 minutes of NuCalm per day. So that comes down to your new affordability. I just could not believe, from $5,000 to $50, right, a month, providing the disc. Tell us, how did that happen? Because that seems to be a huge, huge leap.
Well, nothing happens without intention. Nothing happens without sacrifice. Nothing happens without vision. It was April 2016 that the company deployed resources, time, energy, and effort on a quest to move away from an expensive $4,695 class 3 medical device that we've sold $22 million worth. Okay, it's not like we haven't helped people, we have, but you're never going to have the impact you want on humanity when your price is so high. You won't. Dr. Holloway began the invention path of the biosignal processing disc 5 years ago. It came to life in June of 2018. We studied it with our medical advisory board, with the Department of Defense, across the FBI, our professional sports teams. We have the luxury of having a customer base that's really unique, from cancer patients and doctors to dentists, oral maxillofacial surgeons, to pilots, to children, to teachers, but also to the best athletes in the world, 49 professional sports teams, 58 UFC fighters, the top tennis players, top golfers, Formula One, auto racing, and the Department of Defense. We work with Special Forces. We work with Air Force Special Operations Command. We work with SOCOM. We work with Navy SEALs. We work with the FBI. We work with the FBI Hostage Rescue Team. We work with BORTAC, BORSTAR, Border Patrol. We also work with the Veterans Affairs. So we have all of these access points. Why? Because 7.6 billion humans on Earth have the same battle we all do. Their primordial midbrain is 40 million years old. Their central, nervous system and their executive functioning and the prefrontal cortex is 4 million years old. Okay, great. We all suffer the same consequence of being human. No one's stress is any more profound than anyone else's. We view that and we judge that, but it's just not true. Here's why. The central nervous system has no filter for real or perceived danger, threat, period. So if I feel, or my central nervous system that's designed here to protect me and keep me alive, if I feel I'm in danger, it hits the amygdala to the HPA axis, mobilizes all my resources to get into fight or flight and lose my cognition. That's how the world works. The central nervous system has no filter. So your stress may seem, this is really bad. My stress may seem not bad at all, but the physiological manifestation of that stress response is exactly identical for every human being on the planet. Therefore, we must have a solution to help everybody on the planet. And the beauty of NuCalm is that we can work with monks and the world's top athletes. We can work with cancer and cancer patients. So we have this broad view. When we got the disc, we spent 53 weeks studying it. And when we came to the realization quantitatively, we said, wow, this is as good, if not better, than the cream applied to the neck with the stimulation device. This is amazing, amazing advancement in science. Amazing. So that was the catalyst to shift our entire business. So millions of dollars, 1,742 days of purposeful invention and work, we were able to launch a subscription model of NuCalm that was more portable, more affordable, with access to 20 years of invention and 11 years of commercial clinical success on this neuroscience platform for as low as $39.99 a month. A decrease in the price of 99.15% to join the NuCalm family. So as a gift to humanity, we are beyond proud. As a CEO of an enterprise that has to keep the doors open, it's a big risk. What do you mean now we need 1,700 customers for every customer we used to have? That's the risk we took. We are thrilled to be here. We have welcomed thousands and thousands and thousands of new customers since we launched on October 14th, 2020. Historically, we would welcome 1,500 to 2,500 new customers a year. That's it. It was an elite group of either Department of Defense or athletes or discretionary wealth or very sick people that found the money to take care of themselves, to balance their autonomic nervous system, to help them fight disease. So we're in a place now that's incredibly rewarding and it allows us to achieve our mission. Our mission is really noble and simple in concept. We're here to change the world by changing the energy on the planet from negative to positive. And we do this by
Yes.
liberating the human being from their own internal stress. Because when you are liberated from stress, you are more patient, you are more present, you are more observant, you're a better listener, you're more accepting of who you are, and you're more accepting of others. You are simply a better version of yourself, and that proliferates your family dynamic, your community. You literally change the world by taking away this negative. That's what we're here to do. And that's why it's so exciting to be here. But here's something that very few people know, but the CEO has a really good idea. Guess what? NuCalm is not the only trick in town for us. We have built 2 platforms of excellence. The biosignal processing disc is a harmonic oscillation bioresonance application to create any nutrient delivery to the body. What does that mean? That means 5 months ago, we started working with the Department of Defense on a coagulation disc. So when a high-performing operator gets shot behind enemy lines, instead of bleeding out, they can apply a coagulation disc to the wound site. We can do anything with this platform, anything we want. Secondarily,
Wow.
the neuroacoustic software is designed to entrain your brain, to pace you. Well, guess what? We have a track that's 6 years in development for sleep, to pace your brain to 0.5 hertz deep delta and help with the onset of sleep. That's going to be released probably in the 4th quarter of this year. We have the antithesis of NuCalm called Ignite Warrior Brain, that's been used by the Department of Defense and professional athletes for 6 years. You just listen to it with headphones. It's 13 minutes long, and it drives your brainwave function from 15 hertz up into gamma 39 hertz, activating your sensory motor rhythm, activating your motor cortex, creating adrenaline, activating dopamine, increasing your olfactory, your peripheral vision, activating your cerebellum. It prepares you for high intensity focus. And then we have one for focus, 15 to 20 hertz. So we have a whole platform of technology designed that in the future, probably as early as next year, you can get up in your beautiful environment on the West Coast and you can say, what do I want to feel like right now? I didn't get enough sleep, so I'm going to augment my sleep debt and I'm going to do NuCalm for 30 minutes. I'm going to restore and reset. Okay, great. Then I'm going to get up and instead of drinking Pete's coffee, that's like motor oil in my stomach acid, I'm going to do Ignite, and I'm going to use physics to simply change my state. And then tonight, because I worked late and I'm all jacked up, I'm going to put the sleep track on in my bedroom and I'm going to entrain down. We will have the opportunity for you to have on-demand state management of anything you want to do in your life at that time. Why? Because the world is frequency, vibration, and energy. And we have the sophisticated tools to present a pattern that your brain will vibrate and oscillate at on demand.
Wow, that sounds okay. So Jim, I think what we should do is think about a little bit of get everybody started, and then we have everybody experience it, and then we do another interview so people can ask you questions.
That'd be wonderful, because there's a lot of questions, because people don't know what relaxation is supposed to feel like. People have built narratives up in their subconscious for most of their life, and NuCalm will liberate them. Yeah, there's a lot of questions that happen along the journey. They're all good and they're all fun. I would love that.
Yes.
So you are an affiliate of NuCalm,
Right.
right? There are many affiliates for us, and it's really simple. Our technology works. It's not up for debate. We've been at this for 19 years. We've never marketed the technology. We've always just invested $26 million to make a better product, an easier product, a better product, an easier product. And until October of 2020, we never spent a single penny on marketing. But now we're ready to explode and share with the world with this. So we have affiliates like yourself who are like, hey, I love this tech. Thank you for reducing the price, making it affordable, making it easy for people to access. So as an affiliate, I would say, hey, get your link out there, have people buy NuCalm. When you go to the website, through Dr. Lu's affiliate link, you're going to get 50% off the first month. There's no obligation. NuCalm works. We're not interested in a sample size of 1. We have several million data points. We're good. It's a matter of, is it important to you? And will you make it a part of your lifestyle? If it's important to you, it's a month-to-month obligation. We make this very easy. We're in the stress management, health, and healing world. So we want to create as little obstacles to that as possible. So join the family, try NuCalm, and then let's get on and do this where we'll have questions about the experience and how to use it and when to use it.
That sounds fantastic. I can't wait for everyone to do it. Send me an email. I'll send you the link. You can try it for a month, and then we can invite, Jim back for questions and, cases and all that good stuff. That sounds good, Jim?
It sounds amazing. As you can tell, it's a topic I really like to talk about. So
I can see. I love to listen to that. It feels like I just had an update on my neuroscience. That's much more in detail than the one you did in China. So thank you so much for spending the time. And
my pleasure.
I think the thing about being at the state of relaxation is we have better focus in our work, less reactions and negative self-doubt. I think that those we have so much, people just spend so much time on those negative issues. And once you are more focused on positive things, we are now creating the life for ourselves and others. So I think it's such a new tool that everybody can use. And then just imagine you're surrounded with people it's easy to talk to, it's focused, it's motivated, and very peaceful. So I think that's the world really need right now. I think a lot of people are reacting, predicting bad stuff and really wasting their life away. Life is so precious, so precious. So I want to thank you for spending the time. I want everyone to really give it a try. I know many people on this list, except Dr. Julie Taguchi, she has tried NuCalm, and everybody else have not tried it yet. So I said, try it. It's the first cost is like $29. I just split it with Esther. We did it really good just on the new platform. And try it. Maybe we'll reschedule with Jim about how we can promote it to our patients and or our families, so because they can enjoy it too. So
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. You're an amazing woman. I love you. Much gratitude. Take care of yourself. Be well.